Hi everyone, my name is Jessica. I would like to welcome you to the Data and Computational Solutions Team session. So today our teams will be pitching their ideas related to data to empowering their cities, businesses, and communities. And each of these teams have been working on their projects for at least one semester, and they have been accompanied by a faculty or advisor who have been mentoring them throughout the entire way. I hope you all are as excited as I am to hear their pitches. So before we meet the teams, I would like for us to meet our panel of expert judges from the industry who have actually volunteered their time today to hear the pitches, and they will be determining the one winner from this particular team area. So judges, thank you for joining. I would like to welcome you guys. So Mustafa Analoui, who is the Executive Director of Yukon Venture Development. Hi. Serrano Vanasek, founding partner of Vanvana Tech Investments, and Sam Gruen, founder and managing member of Bridge Angel Investors and a Kaplan Institute Advisory Board member. So thank you, judges, for being here today and for watching our teams pitch their ideas. And I would also like to remind you guys to please have your score sheets ready for when teams are going to present. So, as I said, now I would like to share with you the teams that we're pitching today. We'll be hearing from 4 teams and in this order. So the first one would be Immersive Reality Urban Service. The second one will be Penguin Train Committee. The third one will be Perspectives. And the fourth one will be Soil Cycle. So if everyone's ready, we could start with our first team. Immersive Reality, I will share my screen with your presentation. So please request to be on the panel.
Hi everyone, we are Team IRUS, Immersive Reality Urban Service. My name is Kem Nguyen, Architecture Major, Technical and Research Lead.
Hi, my name is Nancy Chavez. I'm also an architecture major, and I am the design and development lead.
The first immersive reality concept started in 1960s and has rapidly grown since the 2010s. There are 3 types of immersive reality: augmented reality, mixed reality, and virtual reality. Augmented reality overlays digital content onto a physical space. Mixed reality overlays more sophisticated digital content onto a physical space and allow user interactions. Virtual reality transfers user to a completely immersive experience in the virtual space. Many companies are involved in different levels of immersive technology, including Microsoft and Google. Many cities worldwide have been collecting data for civic service, such as Singapore, Boston, Copenhagen, and Chicago.
However, there is no common language or strategy among them, specifically neighboring cities. Hence, every city should have a synchronized network of immersive civic tech services so that people can promptly utilize the information on the same level among cities and while traveling between them. Therefore, we found IRIS. We work with cities and tech companies to turn all their data sets into a universal language embedded in our software so that more people can access and utilize them. Following our software will be the production of devices for civic services. We believe applying high tech for transportation will have an immediate positive impact on the urban dweller and environment. Our first 3 products are augmented reality train windows, sound navigation for the visually impaired at public transit, and augmented reality windshields for personal vehicles.
The rise of urban population and development is faster than the growth of infrastructure. Along with tackling global warming by reducing carbon footprint, the future of urban transportation is going to be public transit. From that urgency, our first product, augmented train windows, is created. The AR train windows can be activated by syncs with the user mobile device. Along with general information, notifications of stop and connecting ride will be displayed. User can also at personalized settings such as popular destinations or advertisement. Despite a huge decline in 2020, public transportation is projected to grow proportionally to urbanization rate. A potential partner will be Reflect, a pioneer in AR technology in transportations. AR train window will be a game changer in urban commute, attracting more user and revenue to the cities.
The world is underestimating the potential contribution of the disabled to our society. Technology advancements help bring social equality to disabled and impaired people, especially in public transit, which is naturally discouraging. For that reason, we introduced sound navigation for the visually impaired. The sound navigation for the visually impaired can be activated by scanning for QR stickers with the user's mobile device. Information about arrival time, car entrance, seat availability, and navigation will be sonified. Visual data can be equally accessible by listening. Being disabled no longer means being disadvantaged with the help of technology. Our potential partner will be Bose, who recently released their audio glasses. It will be a win-win situation for the visually impaired to enjoy their travel freedom, and public transit can have a new potential group of riders.
In the future, personal vehicles still play an important role in mobilities. Together with the rise of affordable cars, besides owning personal vehicles, ride sharing will also become an urban transit culture. With more people having access to personal vehicles, we're developing AR windshields for cars. The AR windshield can be activated by syncs with user mobile device. Besides general features, specialized navigations, and a coordination network of all vehicles optimize the route to avoid traffic congestions, even in evacuations. Active pedestrian protection and point of interest will also be displayed. With the rise of 5G globally, the speed of capacity of data transfer will be incredibly fast, allowing real-time synchronization of traffic. A potential partner will be Wayray, company that developing AR technologies for cars.
After transportation, we're going to expand to other civic tech services, such as crowdfunding, surveying, job training, and media. We want to visualize and sonify city data within the urban setting in many aspects. We are at the beginning of Internet of Things. We want to emphasize the importance of the concept by optimizing the use of AR in other products such as recording devices and holographic projectors, along with more recent products. Our current source of revenue will come from transportation products. In the first few years, we will focus on product development and customer service. The first mission is to hold our ground in the young market of immersive technology and transportation as we continue to collect data and expand.
Despite our technological development visions, IRUS follows the foundation of civic tech, that is, to improve social good. Specifically, every concept we create must satisfy financial well-being, health and safety, education, and social connections. Thank you.
I would like to thank again Immersive Reality Urban Service for your great presentation. So now I would like to give the judges a few minutes to tabulate your scores, and I will get Penguin Train Committee queued up. So Penguin Train Committee, please get ready with your pitches and share your audio and video with me.
So, hi, we're the Penguin Train Committee. Positive Train Control, or PTC, is an accident avoidance system for railroads developed by the Federal Railroad Administration. Our project turns standard model trains into a test environment for positive train control systems. So I'd like to introduce the committee. My name is Zoe Kyle. I am a third-year mechanical engineering student, and this semester I worked with Alex and Will. We are all student members of railroad professional organizations and pursuing careers in the railroad industry. We developed this system in collaboration with the Illinois Tech Railroad Club, which we're all also members of. Okay, so a little bit about positive train control. Positive train control technology is capable of automatically controlling train speeds. PTC will step in if a train operator fails to take necessary action to prevent a possible accident. This system came after 30 years of research and testing different train safety improvement systems. So PTC is designed to prevent these kinds of accidents. These accidents have two things in common. The first thing is that they're all preventable accidents. And the second thing is that they're all caused by human error. These are very important accidents to prevent, but they're not all of them. So a little bit about how the PTC system works. Positive train control doesn't replace a crew on the railroad. It instead augments the crew to help them operate more safely. PTC should facilitate good communication between the crew and all other aspects of the railroad infrastructure. 2020 is a very important year for positive train control. All railroads operating in the United States must have a certified PTC system by December 31st of this year. Over 30 years, $3.4 billion of federal grants and tens billion more dollars in private funds were invested into PTC. The next generation of PTC systems need to build on that, which brings us to our Penguin system. Penguin system is a scale version of a standard PTC system. We developed this to be an open source platform that anyone can use as a framework to build upon because it's fully customizable. We chose an open source system because open source projects foster collaborative and inclusive development. The open source model is used in many industries, but it hasn't been adopted by the railroads. We made our code and circuit diagrams freely available to anyone online so that they can have their own Penguin system. It takes 3 steps to put the Penguin system together. First is constructing the circuit. The circuit's made entirely from consumerly available off-the-shelf parts and can be assembled with minimal knowledge of electronics. Step 2 is downloading the program. The program is available on GitHub, and it can be run as is or modified to adjust the functionality or change different operating conditions of your scale railroad. The code checks all commands being sent to the train through a user control system, and commands will only be altered if they break safety guidelines. Okay, and the last step is to assemble your system. The Penguin control system goes in between a standard model hardware control system and the train tracks which deliver commands to the train. Many people who work in the railroad already have access to model train systems, and it's plug and play. So let's see how our system works. It's based on a fixed block system. These blocks are zones with predetermined speed limits and other conditions. There's a speed limit set for every zone, and the system will not let users exceed the predetermined speed limit for any given zone. When approaching zones with potential hazards, the driver will get a warning. This warning has useful information like the potential risk, a necessary course of action to prevent that possible accident, and a distance. The Penguin system includes all warnings that are required by FRA guidelines. Okay. Distance is very important because this tells the operator how long they have before they need to take the necessary precautions. If the operator fails to take these necessary precautions, the Penguin system steps in and will slow or stop the train. Records of every time that the system steps in to prevent an accident are recorded as a metric. Are very special because they could require the train to slow or stop, and they can pop up in any block at any time. The Penguin system allows users to manually input different maintenance zones in real time. Okay, so standard PTC systems use 2 different positioning systems, either transponder-based or GPS. The Penguin system can cover both of these systems. Switches are added to track manually to emulate transponders, and because of limitations for GPS in a small scale, we can use a displacement map. Existing PTC testing solutions are old-fashioned parametric computer simulations. The Penguin system is different because it puts people at the center of PTC testing and mirrors real-world situations that arise in the railroad. Our system can model all the major kinds of train control systems, which makes it a great tool for research and testing of current PT systems. But we also see this as a valuable tool for developing the next generation of positive train control and advanced train control, taking into account what already exists and building on it. It's a very long and expensive process to go through the FRA certification. The Penguin system is a low barrier of entry way to make sure that you're on the right track with your PTC system. There are only 2 companies that make PTC systems, so we hope this will encourage more innovation and new ideas in PTC. We'd just like to cite some of the sources that we use for this presentation: the Federal Railroad Administration, the American Association of Railroads, and also thank all of the IPRO staff and railroad industry professionals who helped make this project possible. And thank you.
Okay, awesome. So up next, I would like to welcome Perspectives to the screen. So Perspectives, I will share my screen with your presentation. And remember that 20 seconds after I press play, your first slide will appear and you should begin presenting.
Hi, everyone. My name is Omar Hernandez, and I'm a current graduate student at Illinois Institute of Technology, majoring in database management and analytics. And I'm also the co-founder of Perspectives, a business intelligence solution designed for independent restaurants and cafes. Perspectives helps small businesses better understand the health of their business from a financial, sales, and expense tracking view. At Perspectives, we believe in educating and empowering small business with their data through streamlined dashboard and reporting solutions. So some of you here in the audience might be asking yourselves, what does Perspectives do? If any of you here are wearing a Apple Watch or a Fitbit device, kind of like this one, then you know that it's important to track your health. Similar to tracking your health, small businesses also have to track the health of their business. At any given time, a small business owner needs to know whether or not their sales or expenses are leaving. Speaking of health, we're all currently living in a global pandemic. As you all know, COVID-19 has had a devastating effect on our small restaurants and local cafes. This has caused many people to lose their jobs and their livelihoods. The fact of the matter is the current pandemic is only expediting the digital transformation for local businesses. During the summer, my co-founder and I teamed up to conduct market research and determine the pain points for these individual small businesses. Over the last 6 months, my co-founder and I formed Perspectives. We recruited a team of software engineers as well as marketing professionals, and we went out to interview different business owners, operators, and general managers to get a of what kind of pain points they were dealing with. We noticed a correlation among all of the small business owners that we spoke with. Many of these small businesses all had similar problems. Ultimately, we grouped these problems into 3 main buckets. The first problem that we identified is data is literally everywhere. Businesses today are dealing with so much data that they can't possibly manage it, let alone gain any insights from it. The second problem that we identified is that most of these small businesses are now managing multiple ordering channels, such as Grubhub, Uber Eats, or DoorDash. COVID-19 has forced many of these small restaurants and cafes to use these digital solutions, whether they want to or not. And lastly, we found that many of these small businesses are all still doing manual accounting. That means that most of these small businesses aren't tracking their expenses very accurately, if at all. Now, based on these insights, we knew we had to come up with a solution to try to solve these problems and help these small businesses. So the idea behind Perspectives came to me from the Mint.com app. If any of you here in the audience are familiar with the Mint.com app, it's a personal financial management tool that helps an individual track his income and expenses. My idea was, can we apply that same concept into a business use case? So you might be asking yourself, how does Perspectives work? Perspectives integrates all the third-party data sources into one single centralized location. So any like point of sale information, ordering solutions, or third-party delivery apps, as well as expense information will all get aggregated into the Perspectives platform. Perspectives really comes with 3 core capabilities. The first one, dashboards and reports to simplify the visuals of the data visualizations for all the business owners. It comes with insights and alerts, customized insights, as well as integrated solution all in one platform. So now let me show you how Perspectives works. If you look at your screen, you can see a wireframe mockup of our home screen. What we tried to do with this UI is we tried to keep it as simple as possible so that any business owner would basically be able to understand any of the information on here. It has high-level information about whether the business is generating revenue or a loss. Next, the transactions page goes into aggregates all of the information from all of the third-party data sources and brings it together into one place. Next, the customers page allows the manager to bring all of the data sources from the different channels into one holistic view. So what this page actually does is it creates a unique identifying ID for each customer. So for example, if a business owner was a customer was ordering from Uber Eats or DoorDash, we would be able to identify that same customer by that same ID. And then lastly, we had the expenses page. The expenses page allows the business owner to track and manage all of their expenses in one place. The dashboards on here provide a very high visualization, basic visualization of what expenses are leaving the business. It also allows for budgeting. Based on our research, we found that there's not many competitors in this space. We do have somewhat direct competitors like Compete, Vicky, QuickBooks, and indirect competitors like Excel or Toast, but none of these solutions really touch on all of the key features that Perspectives brings to the market. Business intelligence shouldn't only be for corporate giants like Starbucks, Chipotle, or McDonald's. It should be available for the small independent restaurants and cafes as well. With COVID-19 accelerating the need for digital solutions for small restaurants and cafes, now is the time for these small mom and pop businesses to fight back and take control of their data. Choose Perspectives today and help us empower and save small business tomorrow. Thank you.
Thank you. So up next would be Soil Cycle. So Soil Cycle, if you could start getting ready to pitch. Okay, so Soil Cycle, now I'll be sharing my screen with your presentation. And then
Hi, I'm Ben Rivetto, and I'm presenting with Daniel Jablowski. This semester, we focus on improving soil health and agricultural farming practices. Improving soil health has a wide variety of benefits, from reducing the impact of natural disasters by widening water retention thresholds, to growing produce that is more vitamin-rich per calorie. The first feedback loop is environmental, where intensively growing one crop creates a reliance on synthetic fertilizers that fail to replenish soil nutrients in long term. As a result, the UN reported that 1/3 of global topsoil has been lost and can no longer be used for agricultural purposes. The second feedback loop is economic. The subsidized crops, which are used to price despite market value, are often intensively grown for their low risk, ensuring payback on planted crops. This creates an abundance of these crops, and then it's very bad for soil health because all the same crops are planted. The solution. It already exists, and it's regenerative farming. Regenerative farming traditionally consists of crop rotations, mob grazing, and cover cropping. Since regenerative farming already exists, our problem became, how do we make this better? How do we make regenerative farming easier? We researched regenerative farming, and we researched it, and then we came up with our app. Our final product is Soil Cycle. It's an application that reads information from a soil sensor array to give real-time feedback on soil health indicators. Our product takes the guesswork out of crop rotations and uses precision techniques to put our users to put their best foot forward, improving soil health. Farmers already practice regenerative farming, but still struggle with knowing exactly what their soil needs. Soil health is often a guessing game for farmers, causing them stress and loss of profit. Here's where Soil Cycle will help. All a farmer has to do is place the sensors on the field and download the app, where the user can receive real-time values for NPKs, pH levels, and moisture content. NPKs are actually nitrogen, phosphorus, and potassium levels. At the end of each harvest, the app will relay real-time soil data and reports to the farmer. The app will then give the user recommendations on what crop to plant, increasing soil health and yields. The farmer is then able to plant the cover crop and then the cash crop the next season while their soil gets healthier. Our final prototype is one whole sensor. It combines pH sensor, microcontroller, NPK sensor, and the moisture sensor, along with a microcontroller to give it Wi-Fi and PV panels. The microcontroller will be powered by cellular connection, and if it's not available, a hotspot can be attached to a tractor and driven by the sensors, which will relay it back to the app. Then the sensor would be placed into the field. Only the sensing parts go into the ground, and the rest of the sensor is encased in a box structure to protect it from the elements. The PV panel is outside the box and protected in a glass case. The sensor setup would relay real-time data back to the app. Once in the ground, the sensors will relay real-time data to the app, and the app then would give full reports to the farmer, showing all their soil levels, the NPK levels of all their fields. Then the report gives recommendations of what crop to plant, and the cash crop and cover crops. It will also give alerts in cases of natural disaster. After creating our ideas, we interviewed 3 farmers. We got a sense of how regenerative farming really works, and we learned how mob grazing works and how composting works. It really helped us to research what kind of crop rotations work best, what cover crops work.
This is what our app looks like at its current stage. The first screen here is where the users log in so we can reference any information related to the user. Each field they create and sensor array they link will have a reference to the user record so that information can be queried later. For now, signing in with Google is the only method for logging in because it was easy to implement and every Android user has a Google account. The second screen displays an overview of the fields along with the fields added by the user. The tile titled Overview is the one that displays the 3 most recently updated fields by their status, and then right below that is where it displays the fields that have been added by the user. Also, they can hit the plus button at the bottom right of the screen, which will take them to the third screen. Here, the user can add a new field by filling out the form and adding an image for reference. They can add a field name, location, and description to identify their field. More inputs will be added as the app is developed and the need for more metadata arises. Once they complete the form, they can go back to the home screen. And from there, once the user has at least one field created, they can click on any of the fields and be directed to the fourth screen here, which is a more detailed view of the field, along with all of the sensor data that you can see on the right-hand side of the card. This view also includes data like the current crop in rotation, the estimated yield, location, and description of the field. Here, they can link sensors to particular fields as well. If they click the recommendation report there at the bottom, they'll be taken to the fifth screen where the app will analyze the data that you currently have, as well as the data that's been collected over time to identify any trends and then determine the crop that should be planted next. In this example, legumes are recommended as the next cover crop to boost the soil pH and nitrate levels. The graph shown here illustrates the ideal levels for NPK, which are nitrates, phosphates, and potassium nutrients. These are the target values for the ideal state of the soil. The app would be using these values as targets and comparing them to the current data collected from a field depending on the crop that is planted. This graph shows the ideal levels for pH. The pH is important because it influences the availability of essential nutrients. Most crops will grow satisfactorily in soils having between 6, which is slightly acidic, and 7.5, which is slightly alkaline. Raising and lowering pH takes time, so rapid changes cannot be expected, and the farmer needs to be aware of the pH level in their soil to properly remedy it. This graph shows the ideal moisture content on the crops shown. Soil moisture is a key variable in controlling the exchange of water and heat energy between the land surface and atmosphere through evaporation and plant transpiration. As a result, soil moisture plays an important role in the development of weather patterns and the production of precipitation. Once the app has collected all the data, the app will choose a cover crop based on the NPK data. An example of this is with corn, wheat, and soybean rotation. Here, the corn, wheat, and soybeans will be rotated each season as cash crops. The app will then take the NPK data and recommend what cover crop to plant during the cold season. Thank you all for listening to our presentation.
Okay, so thanks again, Soil Cycle. So that concludes today's innovation pitch session for Data Computational Solutions. I would like to thank you, judges, Sam, Ronald, and Mustafa. Thank you for joining us today and volunteering your time. And I would like to thank all the teams for pitching today. Congratulations on all of your hard work. And I would just like to thank you guys all today for joining us, and good job, everyone.
Great.